Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff.
Hi everyone, welcome to Fandom Family Chats. I'm Shelby.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Eve.
And today we're going to be talking about Station 19, Season 5, Episode 18, titled Crawl Out Through the Fallout. And later on, we're also going to be talking about Grey's Anatomy, Season 18, Episode 18, titled
Dinner Party?
Stronger Than Hate.
Oh, Stronger Than Hate. I don't know why I thought it was Dinner Party.
That's not a song title.
I can make a song called Dinner Party.
Do it.
I'm really
right now.
I'm really surprised that Dinner Party is not a song title yet.
Oh, no. I bet it is. It's just not a known song.
So, starting off with Station 19, what does everyone think about Travis for mayor?
Yes!
I'm all for it.
I don't think he'll actually be mayor. I think, and I don't think he does either, but I agree with what he's doing. He's just trying to take votes away from Dixon.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that he's going through with it. I thought he was just talking crap at first.
I did too. It kind of surprised me when he actually said something to Ross. I was like, "Whoo, okay, how is he doing this?"
I thought he was talking himself out of it because at the beginning he was talking about all the different classes and things he needed to do in order to qualify to even run.
Yeah.
So I was under the impression he was talking himself out of it, but I don't know. Next time mayoral elections come up, I may just do a write-in for Travis Montgomery. For a fictional character. I think a fictional character could do a better job.
Honestly, though, I think he does have good ideas. I just don't think that he has the following that he thinks he will.
Oh yeah, he has great ideas, and I think that's really the point. He just needs to get his, opinion. He just needs to get, his views out there and take votes away from stupid Dixon.
I don't know, because now it's going to kind of come down between PD versus FD, which I think it's going to be kind of an interesting storyline. I think it's a great idea. I mean, from the writer's perspective, I think it's a great idea for them to do. I don't know. I'm a little bit excited about it because I know it's going to bring on some drama.
We've seen in our other shows too that PD and FD kind of are, I guess, rivals. I don't know if that's really the word because they don't really hate each other, but
yeah, they'll I know in real life, it's not like a serious rival thing, but it's like they mess with each other. It's kind of like brotherhood. They just mess with each other,
Station. The reason I'm not excited about a PD versus fire thing on Station 19 is because it's been done way too much. Like I'm hoping they don't
focus all of it.
Because I mean they did it for they went hardcore into it for a while, and it was just maybe within the last couple seasons they finally got on same ground. Like they're finally seeing eye to eye somehow, or they're at least not, they don't hate each other.
And now they're going to start mayor campaigns against each other.
But you know what? Dixon is, who he is. So I can't imagine really anyone likes him, even his own department. So
yeah,
it might just need more of support, like a brotherhood support type of thing.
I think it'll be okay. I mean, Ross gave him her personal endorsement.
I loved how supportive Ross was to him.
Mm-hmm. I think she sees big things for Travis. I mean, I feel like she made that kind of clear her first day. It didn't really surprise me that she said she was going to endorse him, but I'm glad that she did. And I think it's awesome. And I think it's going to give a good storyline for next season.
Yeah. And it's nice to see her supporting someone other than Sullivan. I mean, nothing against her at all because I do like her, but she pays a lot of attention to Sullivan. And I mean, she's been okay with Andy, but she's not really as supportive as what I thought that she would be as a fellow colored woman, to be honest. So it's nice to see her giving some support to someone else. Speaking of Travis, do you guys think, since he's running against his father, do you think he's going to have a run-in with Emmett again?
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Because I
do.
know I sensed something in the chat. I know that, well, obviously, because the show's done for the season, but I know that the character that played Emmett was done for this season, but I don't think that it was said if he was done completely or if it was just this season.
I thought it was just for this season. And he might not be like a regular anymore, maybe. Maybe he'll just come in a few times. I don't know. I mean, he's never been like always in every episode, right?
He was always more of a side character that they brought in every once in a while. And the only reason he became such a more central character is because he was dating Travis.
So we probably won't see him too much.
Yeah, I could see him coming back into the fold with this whole election, though.
I mean, it would make sense. And if they don't, then that just means the actor doesn't want to do it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we also know that Emmett doesn't really support his father either, though.
I don't think he supports him, but I also think he's one of those kids that's just gonna probably go along with mom and dad.
I could see that
Sadly,
too.
we had a few happy moments this episode, though.
I was so happy about Prue. She's so stinking cute.
Man, that little face she has.
Yeah,
Has
and
like this cute little circular face. I just love
Like
it
those-
so much.
You just want to like reach through and like pinch
Yes.
those teeth. Oh my god. I think of Shelby every time they show Prue because I know that Shelby is obsessed with that little girl.
yeah, I love her. I love how she is with Vic too. Like
Mm.
Vic was so emotional and stuff, and her little voice saying, "It's okay, Auntie Vic." Like,
Oh, broke my heart.
Yeah, I wanted to be like, come here, come tell me that it's okay and that I can cry and it's okay.
I was like, oh my gosh.
speaking of Vic, me and Eve were talking about this a little bit, and she's kind of debunked my theory. But
Uh-oh.
do we think that she might be pregnant?
I hope not.
I hope not too, because they just went through the whole abortion thing, and that
I
would
don't
be kind of
think so.
redundant.
I don't think they would do that right now. That would be way too. They made a huge spectacle about the entire episode was over that abortion and the grief about it. I can't see them doing that. That would be a little bit of a bad taste, in my opinion. Like I wouldn't.
That was my thinking too, because I was like, why would they focus a whole episode on her abortion only for her to get pregnant just like 3 or 4 episodes later?
Yeah.
But she was very all over the place, though. Or, I mean, am I reading too much into it?
I think she's really emotional over Dean right now. Being Prue's birthday, and this is, I think, Prue's first birthday without her dad. I think she was just. That's how I took it, at least. That she was just really emotional.
Oh yeah, because she was his best friend, right? They were pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more than friends, I would say.
Well,
at least
he
on
was in
his-
love with her.
Well, yeah, at least on his end.
She didn't know until the day he died.
Ben's speech was really sweet, though, too.
It was. He gave Bailey all the hype.
The one thing I didn't understand, though, Bailey was at the dinner party in Grays, but
Mhm.
she was at the Prue's party in Station 19.
Yeah.
Weren't they going on at the same time?
No,
Not necessarily.
it was
The epi-
daylight.
Yeah, and the episodes run parallel, so I don't think we have to assume that episode 18 of each show is happening on the same day.
I
just thought it was like
confused.
it looked like really bright outside, so I thought it was like they did it like in the afternoon or something.
That would make sense because Prue's a kid, and then that way Prue could be up and, involved.
Yeah, they want to do it
Bailey
at the firehouse during their shift.
Yeah, Bailey probably went to Meredith's like later on, like after Prue was in bed or like getting settled down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's how I watched and took it. But like Eve said, it could have been a whole nother day.
Okay. So another piece of good news, Karina's green card came through, even though Maya was annoying. And
What happened to Maya?
I wanted to slap Maya in the face like several times this episode. She was so annoying. And
I think she was so nervous.
granted, some of the questions were like a little, like the fact they were asking was a little ridiculous. Like, what was one of them? Are you going to like engage in human trafficking or something? And I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, do you even understand what this poor woman has been through with human trafficking?
I know.
And then Maya's just sitting there in the corner laughing hysterically, like, yes, definitely, yes to that. And I'm like, Maya, shut up, please.
It was so
Your
funny.
wife could get deported here.
I was laughing so hard on the whole thing.
And so we interviewed Veen Hong, the one that played Philip, the guy. That was his name.
Yep.
And
Philip Dong.
Philip the dog.
I couldn't remember what his
Dong,
last name
Dong.
was. But anyway,
Dog.
I couldn't remember. But anyway, so we did an interview with him because he was on This Is Us. So if you guys liked his character, check out our interview. He's a very interesting man.
Yes, we love him.
Yeah, he's very humble and he's a good guy. But
Mhm.
anyway, when Maya was back talking to him, I was like, don't talk to my friend that way.
I know. I felt very protective over him. I'm like, hey, I'll be nice to him.
But that side of him though, where he was like, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to her. I was like, okay, Mr. Hong. But like his character was really good, but he was getting frustrated too. And then he was like, you pass, you remind me of me and my wife, always bickering.
So maybe Maya helped them, pass in the end.
I don't
was
know, she was getting on my nerves.
I was texting him while I was watching, and what I'm sitting there going, I'm praising him right now, but what happens if he denies Karina? Like how awkward is this going to be? My conversation with him now.
Well, that's not on him. That would be
I'm
the
mad
writer's
at you.
fault.
Like, shoot, do I have to be mad at my friend now, who I'm currently texting while watching this episode?
Yeah, I waited till the episode was over to see the outcome before I texted him.
For that same reason, right?
Yeah.
You weren't going to say anything if he denied her.
Well, I would have like congratulated him or whatever, but I wouldn't have been like, oh, I loved your character.
And you did a very okay job.
Yeah, you did good. You did good dictating the character, but you couldn't have given my girl the green card, really?
Rude. No, but she got it, and it's so exciting, and that made me happy because the way they were drilling for it, I was like, man, I just don't feel good. And it's a season finale. Like, is she gonna get
I was really worried. And the word vomit that was coming out of her mouth, like she was going on and on. And then Maya was getting an attitude. I'm like, there's no way that they're gonna get this.
Oh my gosh.
She was talking about them having sex for the first time. And
see, I didn't think there was any problem with that because that's a real marriage.
I didn't think there was a problem with it either, but at the same time, I was like, this is hysterical.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, I see why you guys say that, but our friend told her that he didn't need to know that information, and then she still kept going on about it.
She's nervous.
So...
And then Maya's sitting there like, please, he doesn't want to know about when we first had sex.
But we found out though later she was doing that on purpose because she knew that it would embarrass Maya, and she wanted to make it seem like they were a real couple, which I mean, they are a real couple, but she wanted to make it, more believable, I guess.
And it was a smart idea.
It was very believable.
I just feel like she should have looped Maya into that though.
No, because then
Maya wouldn't have acted right.
That's true.
You could only imagine how that would have gone.
That's true. But speaking of Maya with her attitude, her trying to blackmail Sullivan,
I don't like this.
Not it. Like,
oh no.
This put a really bad taste in my mouth.
She said, like, when she came out and just said, I know about you guys, I want my job back, or I'm going to report you. I was like, oh, she said that.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, oh.
And I was not. The delivery was, I mean, there's no positive way to deliver blackmail to somebody, but the delivery was, the delivery was really odd.
It like came out of left field.
Yeah, like there's no build up, no pulling them aside and saying, this is the information I have, just straight up, I know what you're doing, I want my job back. Like,
yeah.
Who do you think you're talking to, Maya?
But her little rant in the immigration office too about that kind of, I think, set the tone for that a little bit.
They put too much time between the two, I feel like.
Yeah, I could see that.
There really wasn't that much time, but it was like it wasn't like a smooth, like I had almost completely forgotten about their conversation at the
Mhm.
immigration office when that came. So when that came, I was like, oh, I don't know. I didn't like blackmail. I hate blackmail. I mean, in any show, I don't, unless it's like benefiting my favorite person or something. I don't like it. I don't necessarily love Sullivan or Chief Ross, but I also don't feel like it's fair of her to blackmail them either. Like it just doesn't sit right with me.
I wanted to deck Maya this episode.
I wasn't that mad at her, but I was more, let me play a mom role. I was more disappointed in her execution of this.
I didn't appreciate the attitude.
I did not appreciate the attitude that came with this. No.
Listen,
Oh.
kids, if you want to blackmail someone, you need to have a decent attitude about it.
Does she have an attitude problem? Because I like her as a character. Like, this is the first episode that I've really seen that she's kind of like this.
I feel like she cares so much about being captain, and I get it. You know, I guess it's a dream of many people who choose to go into firefighting. But I feel like she tried way too hard to hold on to it.
Yeah,
And
I do too. It feels too pushed.
She just has like a one-track mind, and she's like, I want that job back. I'm going to do whatever I need to get it back. And that's what I'm not appreciating.
Yeah, I just don't like the way that they're executing this at all.
Now, as a person, I don't mind her just, as a person who's not chief, but I can't deal with her being chief. Like, she can't.
I feel like she's way too emotional.
They better not cave in, because I can't deal with her being chief.
She seems like she would be Miss Bossy Pants if she was in that position.
She was okay as chief. I mean, she wasn't my first choice, obviously, so I was upset the whole time. But I mean, she wasn't a bad chief. I just don't like how she's been acting since she was demoted.
She's kind of having like a temper tantrum.
She needs to go to timeout until she, adjusts her attitude. But speaking of drama, we had quite the emergency call this week.
Wasn't this interesting? This was something kind of different.
No, you guys know that I rarely cry over anything.
Ugh.
I actually teared up a little because it involved children. That's why. Like, throw children in pain, or like throw children any kind of emotional pain, and like that gets the tears rolling. And like with the kids like they're pounding on the doors, let us out. I was like, oh, they just went off the bus, and I started crying.
Oh man. See, I had a completely different reaction to that. I was like, what the are you guys doing? You're pounding, you're going to move the bus, it's going to topple over. Like, sit down and listen to these people. Stop it. I was getting so mad at these little kids.
And then them opening up the window, and the firefighter's like, no, don't open up the window. And they're like, well, why? Close the dang window. Like,
because the firefighters told you not to. I mean, do you need any other reason?
No. Exactly. Like, why are you questioning these people? And my thing is too, like, I get in a sense of emergency, especially as a child, you probably don't think and like understand everything. But at the same time, they're like, let me out. Why aren't you helping us? Obviously, there's a reason that you don't know. Like, obviously, there's a reason that they're not helping you that you obviously aren't aware of. They're not telling you because they're not trying to scare you because you're children.
And that little kid looked super smart.
Mm-hmm.
He should have known better.
He looked like the nerd. But I get irritated.
That's not a nice word, Shelby, anymore.
My bad.
We don't call
I
it
apologize. I apologize to the listeners.
Better than the other words she's used on this podcast, so I'm willing to go with nerd.
But I get irritated with family members that do this too in our shows. Like when someone's coding, oh my gosh, help him. What do you think they're trying to do?
Like, oh, I should help him because I'm just going to stand here and watch.
You're such a Scorpio.
I get so irritated. Like I forget which show it was, but this guy was coding and she's like, don't let him die. Well, then get out the room and let them do their thing. Like, duh.
What do you think we're doing? Everybody like just stand still.
Like someone's escorting you out the room. You're fighting back and like, don't let him die. Don't let him die. Get the hell out of the room.
People don't really in emergency situations think. I understand. And usually during an emergency situation, you're not using your best judgment. Most people are not. Some people do. Some people thrive in emergency situations, and those are usually the first responders and the people who can. But some people just their minds go blank during emergency situations. They're not the people you want to have around in emergency situations.
So the truck driver, he was a badass, a hero.
He was so sweet, and he probably, I hope he's okay. I know the outcome of that was not good.
Yeah, I really hope, because they're arresting him, right?
Yeah, well, they said they were, yeah.
I really hope that the fire company pulls through for him.
I do too. I mean, I understood. I understand why, because this whole situation could have been avoided if he had taken the proper precautions, I guess. It's a really sucky situation because
accidents happen.
But when accidents happen regarding, like, if my kid was on that bus and that had happened, I might feel differently, because that could have been really bad. And those kids were exposed to radiation. Opening those windows, taking them out, all that stuff was exposing them to radiation, which might take years off their lives. Hopefully not, but it's a serious thing. And I feel really bad for the guy, and I don't want him to be in trouble. But then again, if I put myself in parent shoes, I might want that guy in trouble.
Yeah, it's just hard because he seemed like a decent guy.
I know.
Who made a mistake, but at the same time, they have to do something. I mean, It was a pretty huge mistake that he made. So
somebody has to be held responsible, and unfortunately, that is him.
Yeah, but I mean, even him, like, he was more worried about the kids than he was worried about, like, them getting him out and stuff like that. And he even put his life at risk getting that close to the powder stuff. I mean, he went right up to it and carried it away from the scene.
Like, where was the hazmat team? Like, why shouldn't they have been there a lot sooner?
I think they were like so many minutes out or something.
Okay.
Like they were waiting and waiting and waiting for them, and then they decided they couldn't wait any longer.
I just feel like it took them way too long to get there.
Like, do they only have one hazmat team in all of Seattle? Like, how long does it really take for them to respond? I mean, it was a pretty big emergency. They needed hazmat there.
Yeah.
It was only a matter of 10 minutes, though. I mean, I know 10 minutes in a situation like that is a lot, but it was only 10 minutes.
And also, like, I know in Chicago, don't they kind of have some basic hazmat suits and stuff, like, always on the rigs?
Usually, yes. In real life, yes.
So I don't understand why they would not have put on their own hazmat suits and at least gone and gotten the children away from the situation.
Yeah, I don't know. Because usually,
or taken the thing away far enough to where they could get their kids out safely.
Because usually, even in situations like that, even if they don't have hazmat suits, a lot of times hazmat will bring, like, the collapsible showers and stuff. So even if they do get whatever on their outfits and stuff, like, they can shower off.
Which they did. I mean, we saw them all cleaning off after everything was done. Hazmat showed up. I thought they should have been there a lot faster.
Yeah, the timing was definitely kind of weird.
I just felt like they were sitting there for a very long time. Maybe it wasn't that long in all reality.
Maybe in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that long, but I mean, 10 minutes in an emergency situation can feel like centuries. So
yeah, and I mean, especially with that, where you have your kids leaning on a cliff, like, I'm sure they were feeling like it was taking forever too. I mean, you saw Warren was jumping at the bit to just go.
Mm-hmm.
And
he was.
They told him no, which I respected that. I mean, the one excuse was, well, you had cancer already, and then Dick's like, and he has crew.
I know. I don't know if I would have been able to hold myself back, though.
I probably wouldn't have been able to either.
Does anybody understand something with that kid affected Jack? And I don't really understand what like flipped in him.
Okay, I thought I missed something because they were really hyper focused on Jack and that kid for a little bit, and then the scene was over. And I was like, wait, what was that? But they never came back to it.
Yeah, it was. I got confused over that.
The Jack thing got me confused too. At first I thought that maybe it was his brother's kid, and then when his family came, like he recognized the wife or whatever, but it wasn't.
That was I didn't even my mind didn't even go there. I just was completely confused about
I had no theories. I was
Okay.
just very confused.
All right, I'm glad I'm not the only one because I did not understand that at all. I was like, are they like this has nothing to do with this season? Maybe it's an older thing that I'm not thinking that I've never
And
seen.
And I didn't even put it in our notes because I was like, well, maybe it just wasn't even a thing and I'm just reading too much into stuff. But apparently it was. But
If anyone's listening and you guys know the answers, reach out to us and let us know.
All right, so talking about hero moments, Andy was like so amazing this episode. I loved her.
oh, I wanted to give her a hug and a high five and a fist bump and all the things.
Yes. Like
I
go Andy. Go
I
Andy.
was so happy that she talked the girl into talking
Holly.
to her.
Was it Holly?
Holly, yeah. I
Yeah.
loved the speech when she was talking about how, your son should be angry. Everyone should be so angry. And she's
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So is her
Everyone-
little boy Jeremy's? Did she get pregnant when she got raped, or was
I didn't get that impression.
okay? I got the impression at first, but then when she was talking to her, I was like, I don't think it is.
Because
I
she
was-
said she was kind of cavalier about it when she was talking about the father. She just said, I have a 5-year-old son, his father isn't in the picture. So I wasn't under the impression that the father was Jeremy. I was under the impression it was just some deadbeat dad.
That's
See-
the impression I got too. I just wanted to make sure.
So her tag name was class 18 dropout or something like that. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, that would have been 4 years. So she would have had the kid before she would have graduated.
I guess
think
she
it would have
already
been
had the
too
kid.
soon. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. But
But-
okay, so she's only found this one person so far, right? I guess that was enough. I mean, it's over.
Well,
So
I mean,
yeah.
we saw at the beginning of the episode, she and Jack looked like they were up like nights and nights looking for even one person. So I'm under the impression that Holly was their best bet.
I mean, I still think there was probably a lot more victims out there, but that one, I guess, just worked. And I mean, that's great. I wish everybody would have gotten a little bit of closure from this that were his victims, because I doubt those were only his 2 victims.
I was glad that Holly agreed to talk to Andy, because I mean, that's intimidating. I mean, I get where she was coming from with that she didn't report it because it would have been he said, she said type of thing. And, I mean, that was my mindset when what happened to me. I get it.
Mhm.
And a lot of times when stuff like that happens, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. Police officers a lot of times are men, and they don't think that you're a victim because, you were leading them on, or, whatever the case is, just like what happened to Andy.
Mhm.
It actually happens in real life, and it's a
Absolutely.
shame. I read a statistic. It was like 44% of rapes aren't documented because of that.
I mean, it's a really high number, but I
It is.
100% believe it.
Yeah, it's it's a shocking amount.
I do love how they played the storyline out on TV, though, giving awareness and everything.
Absolutely.
But I don't know from personal experience. I guess Shelby can speak more to that, but I feel like they did a pretty great job.
The one thing too was the judge. He was making me mad. He was a little biased.
He
Well,
was.
not even a little biased. He was very biased. Just the way he was talking to her, I was like,
I didn't like him.
oh, no, I didn't either. I feel like if that was me, I would have moved to try to get a different judge. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know if that's actually a thing that you can do or not, but
Even when she brought Holly in to see him with his face, I was like, man, this still isn't going to be enough for this guy.
I was convinced that Holly was not going to be enough.
no. And the judge's thing was, oh, we talked to the bartender and you were flirting with him, and
That
you guys
pissed me off
walked out.
so bad.
Yeah, and you guys walked out together, and then you guys were making out, and then the next thing that we see is him laying on the floor and you driving away. Like, okay, even if which that was happening in the show, But even if that was happening, at any given point, you have the right to say no. That goes for men and women both.
Yes, absolutely.
I
And
know that, men's sexual assault doesn't get talked about that much either, but it's the same exact thing. You're not leading somebody on. If you want to stop and you say stop and you say no, that's it.
that's no.
It's like Karina said right after it happened, is that consent is not a one and done. It's
continuous.
It's continuous throughout the entire encounter.
Act.
But at Prue's party, we do learn though that the case was dropped, which was even more of another reason to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know what she was waiting for to tell everybody.
I think she was just letting them have their. Ben was talking. He was giving that grand old speech.
And Vic had already cried once or twice, so I mean, that we didn't need to the pile. Her emotions went through it this episode. I was like, she's crying. She kind of looks happy though. Is she okay?
That's why Shelby thought she was pregnant.
It is.
I mean, I definitely would have thought the same thing if we hadn't just gone through an abortion storyline with her.
Oh yeah.
I hope that they are wrapping it up so that she's not in that situation again.
I think it would be very bad taste if they did that. I do. I don't think that they would do that. We also learn after this that Andy is going to be back at 19, but it does not come as a really good news. As
soon as Ross gave her the lieutenant spot back, I said, oh no, like who is leaving to get her lieutenant? At first I thought, oh, is Maya leaving? Because I mean, she needs a timeout. But then I was like, oh,
I thought it was Maya at first.
I was like, it better not be. And then she got to the locker room. I was like, he did not. He is not doing this to us. I already knew that I was supposed to be mad by this episode going into it. So I was kind of waiting.
The one thing though that I don't understand, at the beginning, Karina and Maya were talking about that they were going to take a test today. Well, like that day or whatever, and if Jack wanted to be involved, he could or whatever, and he said no, but then they never even shown them doing that either.
Nope, we're going to wait till next season. That was rude.
And poor Jack, I mean, I don't understand because, well, maybe we'll see him, I guess. Maybe he just won't be working at the fire station, but he wanted to be involved in this kid's life.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he's gone. I really don't.
I think his reunion with his brother really threw him for a loop, because remember he said at one point, I don't remember who he said it to, but he said something like, I don't need your pity, family, or something like that. Yeah, I think him reuniting with his brothers just really thrown him for a loop. So I think he's in a spiral right now. But I mean, after I kind of recovered and started thinking, it's not unlike Jack to make really rash decisions. So I have a hard time believing that this is the end. Like I have to believe he'll be back.
It just doesn't feel like the end for Jack to me. It feels like he'll just like be back episode 1.
It just feels so Jack to get in his truck and just drive away from the fire station with someone yelling behind him, come back.
So what do you guys hope or think will happen next season?
Next season, I think we're going to get a DeLuca Bishop baby.
Yes, please.
I think Jack will be back, and I think he'll be back to being a firefighter, and maybe we'll lose one. Like not one like we really like.
I think
going on right now.
I'm interested to see where this whole blackmail thing goes with Maya and Sullivan. So I don't see either one of them as the type that given to blackmail though. So I'm interested to see how it plays out.
Maybe Maya will be the spot that Jack needs to take because she gets fired for being a brat. Or the other thing is too, Bennett said that he was going to get clean, so maybe he'll go to rehab, Sullivan will get moved up, and then Jack could come back as lieutenant again.
Yeah, but then when Bennett comes back,
well, he can just get thrown away to the wolves somewhere. I'm kind of glad that we didn't leave it on a cliffhanger. Well, I mean, I guess kind of with Jack leaving, kind of, I guess, but and Maya with the baby thing was kind of a cliffhanger, I guess. But it's
Yeah.
nothing like crazy.
No, it wasn't a serious cliffhanger. Well, I think that was all for Station 19. We can move into Grey's Anatomy.
Season 18, episode 18, which has a nice ring to it. And it is called Stronger Than Hate.
I like this episode.
Yeah, I did. We started off with the dinner party, which was super fun. I think
Was it?
I think Teddy, well, I mean, parts of it was super fun, but I think Teddy was my favorite part. She was just she was having way too much fun. Like she kept, I think she was just holding Boggle. And then
You don't play Boggle?
Like, I'm not playing Boggle with you. And she looked so sad. I was like, someone play Boggle with Teddy.
So you're the one who made me the ambassador of fun. You over here and play Boggle with me. Like, what's your obsession with Boggle right now, Teddy? I like that. This is the Teddy that I really loved before. And I'm so glad that she's back because for a long time there, she was like enemy number one to everybody. And I love that we get this whole we get like old Teddy back.
Yeah,
I'm glad to like her.
I'm glad she's back to being fun and lovable because she was not fun and lovable for quite a while.
She wasn't. And I'm when Bailey caught Owen and Teddy in the car.
Oh yeah, she's like, come on, your parents, for God's sakes. Like, yeah, that's
that
why
was
they're
a total callback.
Yeah, I'm
So
like,
when she caught who she get? Was that Meredith
And
Derek?
Derek.
Yeah. When she caught them in the car.
But Meredith and Derek were way farther along than what Teddy and Owen were.
Yeah.
As far as what they were doing.
Yeah, they were. I laughed like out loud, pretty loud, whenever Bailey walked by and said that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a good callback.
I love Bailey. Like when Bailey's not being stressed out and witchy, I love Bailey.
Yeah, she was really fun this episode. I loved her little moment with little Bailey. Mm-hmm. When they just looked at each other like Bailey,
and then knuckled each other. I love that really, part too.
Yeah, that was cute. I love that.
Bailey.
Yeah, she was nice and light at this dinner party, which was a fun change of pace because she was really at Nick's throat last episode. And then this episode, we got to see them. What were they bonding over? Because I feel like they changed topics like so quickly. Like it went from working under someone and then straight into Scrabble. I'm like, what is happening?
It was like they started bonding over every little thing. You started to see that there were a lot alike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were trying to. I think it was more for entertainment and amusement that these two people who were at each other's throats last week are actually very similar people. Mm-hmm. And now they're just getting along. I think that was kind of they meant to.
And we got a little, mini Scrabble lesson.
We did.
Apparently X-ray, if you put it in the right spot, is worth a lot of points.
I can say the one thing that I did love about this episode, it really brought to light the family dynamic that everyone that was there have with each other. Like, even though they're not, I mean, obviously Maggie and Meredith are related, Amelia and Meredith are sisters, but like they have that dynamic with all of the doctors that were there, that they're all family. They just kind of walk into their house and whatever. I really like that.
Yeah, I do too. It's like they're just a huge family now.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that I can say though, that it kind of made me sad a little bit, but I also didn't really understand it. When Nick rang the doorbell and he came in and Ellis was like, and Maggie's like, hey, be nice. And she said, I thought it was mommy. Why would mommy be ringing the doorbell for her own house?
She's a child. They don't think things through.
Yeah, but I kind of felt bad for her because, like, I get that.
It wasn't supposed to be a sad episode at all. But that little part where Ellis did do that, I was like, oh, that was a little bit heartbreaking. Why did you just do that? For no reason.
I cried this episode. And I don't cry. I bawled this episode.
With what?
The hate crime thing.
Oh God. What? I think I blocked that out of my head.
So Link and Nick, they kind of bonded a little bit too, out at the grill.
They did. I like that.
I did too. Link's whole grill thing is totally a dad thing, which
It
I
is.
loved. All he
He's
needs is,
cracking me up. He knows his little tricks.
yeah, all he needs is a New Balance sneakers, and he's a typical white dad.
And little jean shorts.
But I love their little talk.
Yeah, even though at the beginning I felt like he was kind of trying to dig for information from Nick, which is definitely how the conversation started. But it did turn into a really nice conversation.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that.
I felt like Link and Amelia were the most mellow out of everyone towards Nick. Well, Teddy too. Teddy didn't really care one way or the other, but
Teddy just wanted to play Boggle.
but Link and Teddy's conversation was sweet too.
Yeah, I mean, I was under the impression that Teddy completely forgot that whole moment in the bar with Joe, but I guess she remembered some of it because
I think that it was one of those things like Joe said, don't tell anybody, and Teddy's like, don't tell anybody what type of thing. Like, I don't think that she really forgot. I think it was more of along the lines of it's not going anywhere type of thing. Even though technically it did go somewhere because she told Link that she knew. But
I can't say it enough. Like, I really liked Teddy this episode, but I even liked her in her talk with Link. And I don't think Link was mad that Amelia said or Joe said anything. He didn't seem like bothered by it. I think he seemed even a little that he liked it. He liked that she talked about it and she told somebody else.
Because at this point, he knows Joe very well, and I think he probably knows that she holds a lot in, and the fact that she actually did open up to somebody, even if it was drunkenly open up to somebody, it shows that, you know, he was on her mind and she was confused about him. She really was.
And I think she still is. And I think he's just way more confused. I think he's over Amelia. I really do. I think he's over Amelia. I don't think we have to worry about that anymore.
Well, the two of them we saw were in a pretty good place. This
episode, they were great.
They were they weren't just cordial, they were very friendly.
He still doesn't like Kai though. At least that's the vibe that I got.
But he was cordial. Like he was.
I didn't read that. I kind of felt like maybe he's just still skeptical.
I think he just feels awkward around, like he doesn't know how to act.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new situation because, you know, his kid is involved. So I think he's just trying to figure out where he fits in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I was really proud of all of them this episode. Of when Link showed up with Scout, and I was like, oh, this is going to be awkward because Kai and Amelia are here. But it wasn't. And it was nice. It was such a nice feeling not to have that. I mean, like Wendell kind of made it weird, but we don't know Wendell. We don't respect Wendell. So that wasn't a big deal to me. I was kind of like, okay, whatever, go away.
The other funny part was too, Nick literally came in and like took over the kitchen. Like he was helping cook his own dinner. He set the table. And then Bailey, she's like, you don't even offer me no cheese and crackers.
Where's all the appetizers?
She was cracking me up.
She was. I love when Bailey gets nice and relaxed.
Yeah, she walked in the door. Oh, hi, Chief Bailey. Can I take your coat? Oh, here's some crackers and cheese. Don't even have any appetizers here.
I loved it. I love when Bailey acts like this. This is my favorite version of Bailey. That's why whenever she's so mad and angry, like it's not, I hate it. Because even though here she's not like trying to be funny or anything, she's just being Bailey.
She's like, she reminds me of the bougie auntie.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, and I don't mean that any type of way, but like that's what she reminds me of. So we talked a little bit about Kai and Amelia earlier, but we got to see more of how Kai is with kids, and they were not with it at all.
No, they do not like kids. Well,
and
they don't not like kids. I don't want to say that.
Well, Kai said that they have nibblings, like nieces and nephews. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like they're completely uncomfortable around kids. There's some experience there.
But when they had to go get Ellis the apple juice. Okay. That was such an awkward.
And that's what I meant when I was talking about earlier too, because you know, like at at barbecues and stuff like that, like with families that are mixed, it's very much like all the aunties are looking after all the nephews and nieces, and like any, like basically like every, like if you're not careful, you're in charge of watching 20 kids because like the parents are off doing whatever. And the fact that it was a very big disconnect because of everyone being so comfortable with everybody else, and then it was just like Kai creeped out about Bailey asking for juice. Do you know what I mean?
I wonder too if Kai was, because this is the first time that Kai met Scout, right?
In person, yes, I think so.
So they could have just been like, wow, this is getting real. Like, she has a kid. I'm seeing this kid right here, right now. So that may have, I don't know, Kai may have gotten into their own head a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little happy that they broke things off. I've been getting tired of this.
do you think it's done?
I would like it to be, because I have nothing against Kai. I just felt like the relationship was not
I
going
don't
to
feel
go.
like, I just don't feel like this is a relationship that Amelia needs to be in. I don't think she needs to be in any freaking relationship right now. I really don't.
Yeah, she needs to be alone. I think she does really great being, not in a relationship. So I think that's what she needs right now.
Yeah, if they try to start playing Amelia and Link again next season,
No,
I'm really gonna have an issue. I want to put that out here so they can hear me say it. I'm gonna have an issue. Don't do it again. They're
I
done.
did like seeing Amelia in that mommy mode though. Like Scout was
too.
fussy, and because we don't see much of that. Well, I mean, we've talked about before. I forgot that Amelia was even Scout's mom at one point, but Scout was fussy, and Link was like, you have someone here with you. I can be boring, and Amelia's sitting there reading him a medical journal,
that
and
was
she's
funny.
like, I can be boring too. Like, it's little stuff like that it shows that she knows what her kid needs, even though she's not around as much as she'd like to be.
Yeah, and at the same time, it gave me hope for her and Link successfully co-parenting, because while I don't want them to be together, I do want them to be good with each other.
I think that's why I liked them this episode, is because they were acting very cordial with each other and co-parenting like bad A's, and it was good. It was a nice change of not having all this fighting and arguing between them all the time. I'm sorry, that gets so old so fast. I do not want to hear it every single episode, but I did like the conversation that Owen and Kai had when they were sitting there. Link walked in.
For a second, I was like, why are they sitting here at this tiny little table having this conversation? And then Link walked in, like, there are kids waiting to be fed. I'm like, oh, because they're playing with the kids. Okay.
I was like, what are you guys doing just sitting in this room together by yourselves? But I mean, I like their conversation that they had. And I feel like that's like, does Kai even know that she was married to Owen? I don't think so.
It didn't seem like it. That's what I was just going to ask. It didn't seem like it.
Kai seemed pretty shell-shocked, like when
the whole night.
When they found out how everyone's connected.
Yeah.
So I don't think Kai knew about Owen and Amelia.
Which just isn't crazy for me. Like, to me, that's like first date kind of thing. Like, hey, I was married this many times before I have a kid. You don't have to go into specifics, but I feel like that's basic history.
The one thing I'm confused about, and this is kind of old news, I guess, Leo. Didn't Amelia and Owen adopt Leo together?
No, just Owen did.
They had a conversation about that where Amelia said, you go ahead and do this on your own, and I'm going to be like, the cool Aunt Amelia.
Okay. I didn't remember that conversation, but like, I don't know. It always confuses the heck out of me because I always think that Leo's Amelia's kid too, technically, but he's really not.
No, she just helped him.
I mean, he is in a way that, she has been there for him from the very beginning, but I think his sole parent is legally Owen. I don't know if Teddy has legally adopted him or anything.
I don't know. They should make that clear. If
Yeah,
not,
I
that can
don't-
be an entire, I mean, that could be a storyline of Teddy adopting a Leo.
I mean, she naturally just fell into mother mode when they got married, and they have Allison and everything, so it just makes sense. But they haven't really made it clear,
I don't think they've made it official, which they should do.
planning purposes.
Yeah, because Amelia took Betty under her wing, which is Leo's mom,
Mm-hmm.
but she didn't adopt Betty either. She just kind of was her AA sponsor, right? Or like was trying to keep her clean.
Yeah, she was just helping her.
Yeah, she was just there for her, like as a sponsor.
Because didn't she eventually go back with her parents, but then they decided they didn't want Leo?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the parents came and took Betty and Leo, and then they came back and admitted that Leo was too much for them. So thank goodness. Yeah, I remember being really thrilled that they brought Leo back.
Oh yeah. I did not want him to go with them. But like you said a little bit earlier, Kai and Amelia are done. Hopefully
Amelia's
for good.
crushed. Amelia is
Amelia's
crushed.
I'm not crushed. So
Get over it, Amelia. We're all happy for you.
yeah, it's the best thing for you, honey. We all know, okay?
We know what's
Yeah.
best for our fictional friends.
We do. We see it all. And Maggie and Winston are still dealing with all their family drama.
Guys, I was so mad at Wendell.
Ooh, me too. That very last.
I wanted to push him out of the house myself. Like, just, it's a dinner party. It's a happy event. Bailey is happy. Teddy is being, Teddy. Just go away.
He was not getting a hint whatsoever. And then to come in and have the gall to ask for all that money and then take it from both of them, which, knowing how he was, Maggie and Winston should have talked to each other, because knowing how them two are, they should have known that the other one was going to do it just to get him out. But he took it from both of them, and he's supposed to be family. I mean, you say, oh, your husband already did this for me. You know what I mean? Like, you don't take it from both.
I think Maggie gave it to him first, and I think he took it from Winston secondly.
Which, is why, as a married couple, you just say, hey, I'm going to do this. And then Wendell could have been, or Winston could have been like, whoa, hold on a second. I already gave him money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which Winston was MIA for a bit because he dipped out and didn't come back for a while. But that much money, though, like, that should be a well, I get it's probably not that much money for them because they're surgeons, but that much money should have been a conversation, in my opinion.
Okay, so Ben said the same thing when we were watching he doesn't watch like all of them with me, but he caught this part. He's like, well, it's not like 20,000 is that much to him. I was like, yeah, but it's still $20,000. No matter if you have, I don't think they have like millions upon millions of dollars. I think they just do good for themselves, or they do well for themselves. And
it is a large enough sum,
yes,
where it's worth having a conversation with your significant other.
Yeah, that I think they did it, and then they were going to go and say, hey, I did this. It's just on a whim. I think they both kind of did it on a whim, and I think they both did it almost the same time.
Yeah,
and I mean, Maggie had that little heart-to-heart with Nick where he was saying that, sometimes it's, what did he say? Sometimes it's easier just to like give in.
Basically to give in,
to prevent more heartbreak. So I think that's why Maggie did it. But I mean, $100, sure. You don't have to necessarily tell your spouse about that before it happens, but this was a large sum of money and he swindled both of them.
Yeah, he got out with 20,000. Now he can't show his face back.
No.
So you know what? Take the $20,000 and disappear. You know what?
Go
Go have a good life. I hope it was worth the $20,000 you just lost 2 family members.
Maybe the $20,000 is worth it to just be rid of him.
That's how I would take it. But you know what? You're gone you're gone. No.
Yeah, I mean, we know that he was in with some bad dudes, so hopefully he uses the money to pay it off and then uses the rest of it to better his life. And
I don't know. I don't know if I see that. I don't know if he's in a place where he's learned his lesson and he's gonna pay off those people.
I hope he probably. I think he's gonna pay him off, and I think he's gonna take the other 10,000 and buy more medical equipment that's useless.
Because he seemed pretty scared. I mean,
I think he'll pay him off.
And people like that, they don't play. I mean, he could lose a finger or something.
He can lose his life. I know it's only $10,000, but people kill for less.
Y'all are talking about $10,000 like it's not anything. Like $10,000 is a lot of money.
Depends on your social ladder, though. Like for Maggie and Winston, it's not that much money. To me and you, it is. I mean, I can do a lot with 10,000.
I've
Yeah,
never
that's
even
true.
I've never even seen $10,000. So I mean,
So I mean, it depends on your social class. I mean, $10,000 is a lot to some people, and some people it's like for a crime person, $10,000 is not like a huge deal. But like I said, they've killed for a lot less.
So unfortunately, there were some people missing at the dinner party, Richard and Catherine.
Richard would have been so fun at that dinner party. He would have sat down and played Boggle with Teddy. I'm sure of it.
I
No, I
kind
think-
of like that he's there for Catherine, though. I mean, I know I'm not the biggest fan of Catherine, but he stepped out on Adele. Ellis, he loved Ellis, but he was, Ellis was the other woman. Like, it's kind of nice that he's actually treating Catherine right and acting like a husband.
Yeah, I'm glad he went with Catherine and not the dinner party. I really am. I feel like he would have been like a nervous ball at the dinner party. He would have been so annoying.
He's exactly where he needs to be.
He was. He's him doing all that research and
When they
his
were-
little glasses sitting there with all the research.
When they were talking about the wellness room, I was like, yeah, and you can get a mini fridge and put Catherine's drinks in it so you don't accidentally take it again.
Catherine's drug juice.
I like seeing that couple again that Link was helping last
Yeah, that
episode.
surprised me.
Yeah,
I
It
saw him.
surprised me too.
I didn't catch that at first, like, because I watched the episode twice. So I just watched it through once and then I watched it again when I did the notes and everything. But the first time I watched, I was like, who are these people? Like, they seem really attached to these random people. And then when I watched the second time, I was like, oh yeah, it's that couple.
Yeah, it's the guy who had
But
cancer.
It was nice to circle back to them because we don't usually, that's the end. What we got last episode, that's usually the end of that storyline. So
Yeah, but they
Mhm.
also didn't finish it though. We didn't know if the baby ever made it or anything. So it was very nice to get a conclusion, kind of. I mean, we got more of
Or
a conclusion.
continuation.
Continuation. I don't know. I think they have to I think they're probably going to be in the season finale. They got to you could if you just do one episode with a case, that's one thing. But if you do two and you still don't finish it, you're going to have to finish it with the third. We're invested now. Like, you got to show us if he or the baby make it first.
Because she's 35 weeks pregnant. So really, by the time the finale happens, even if it's in the second part of the finale, they could probably show her either possibly having the baby because she's having issues, or at least show that they're living happily ever after.
Yeah, I think they will. They're usually pretty good about that.
Their little talk about cancer was sad too. How she said, when you think about cancer, you either think about beating it or kind of living with it, but there's never that talk about the part in between where you're fighting it.
Yeah,
That made me sad.
me too. But I feel like it's true. I mean, it's that's the hard part.
Mhm.
I have thankfully no experience, but I've seen many people that I love go through it, as we are as a team right now. It's ugly. Cancer's so ugly and it's heartbreaking. And people do put a lot of spins on it a lot of time.
And
I
try
like-
to
I-
act tough.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And
I mean-
sometimes that's needed. Sometimes that's
Mhm.
needed. But you also need to see the nitty and gritty of it
Mhm.
too. It's not all fun and games. It's hard and devastating. And
Yeah. I mean, just like with Maureen, I mean, look at what we did with her. I mean, even though we're all around the world, we still put together a care package for her and we've been here for her. I mean, she's been pretty transparent with us about all the issues that she's had, but
Mhm.
a lot of people, especially, I feel like especially men, like he has a pregnant wife who's very pregnant. He's probably, not really complaining as much as what he really should because he thinks that she's dealing with enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was really nice.
It was. I like that Catherine pretty much forced him to go with her up to the exam room.
I think
yeah,
Catherine was getting on was getting her nerves shot with Richard.
She was.
Yeah, I was like, when he was saying, no, I want to stay here with you, I was like, take a hint. You're wearing her out. She wants you to leave.
Go.
I think Catherine's kind of used to doing things on her own, and I think that plays a role in how annoyed she got with Richard. But I think that Richard's very overbearing too.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing, because I think he's just trying to be there for her, and I think he's scared. But with being used to dealing with stuff by yourself, I can see why she would be annoyed.
Yeah, like I can see how she would say, whoa, this is a little much. I need to step back.
Speaking of difficult cases, I bawled my eyes out, and I do not cry with stuff like this. I bawled.
This was a very hard case this week, and it's
I
very relevant right now.
Yeah, and I struggled with it on the notes. I was like, I don't even know what to say, so I just threw it in there. And
yeah, what this discussion is going to be pretty small, because what did we talk about? None of us really have experience in this. Nico and Boki and Dr. Len all in that OR treating this beaten woman who was just, I don't know how another human being can do that to another human being. I don't understand. No matter your color, race, orientation, any of it, there's no reason.
And they were saying later on, no one even called for help or took a video or anything. So, I mean, the bystanders in this case were just as bad.
Yeah, it's the one thing that I kind of liked was that Nico and Lynn and Boki were the ones that were working on her. It was kind of like a tribute thing in a way. Yep. I'm getting emotional just talking about it. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to talk here, but then all of the family sitting out in the waiting room and just, guys, like,
it was so brilliantly done.
And Boki's line was brilliant. I loved it.
You are American. We're all Americans.
Your face
is American. Oh my gosh. Anytime that woman speaks,
she needs to talk more.
That's what makes it so brilliant, is because when she does talk, it's like you're like shocked. You're like, whoa, she talks.
And see, the thing that's sad to me about the most sad to me about this is people are doing these crimes because they don't feel like these people belong here in America. But most of them were born here. They're not just shipped over or whatever. They were born here. You know, like the guy said, she had a whole life here. She was literally here her whole entire life. She's a contributing member to society. Yeah. And you treat her like absolute garbage.
Isn't that what America's supposed to be?
Really?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at all three of us right here, and I can tell you that our ancestors were not born in America.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, is that, I mean, if you really think about it, unless you're
a Native American.
Unless you're Native American, like several generations Native American, your ancestors did not originate from America.
No. So do we all need to leave, or? I mean, I'm sure Native Americans would be happy, but.
No, just the terrible people need to leave, because
it's just, this is.
At the end of the day, it's not about the color of your skin. It's not about how you look. It's the mindset and where you were born, and if you're contributing to society. Not even where you were born, because if you're contributing to society, you belong here. And that's
America
how I feel
is the land of the free. Like, it's we that's why we have the nickname. It's because anybody and everybody can live in this country, and that's the beauty of it.
It's
the diversity of it.
It's why our ancestors came here in the first place.
Yeah. So that.
And Nico was taking it really hard. Like he was trying to hide it, but he punched the wall. I mean,
that little moment between Nico and Levi is when I almost cried, because him just getting on his knees in front of Nico and having that moment with him. Oh my gosh.
Sounds like the patient went through surgery okay. I
It was
mean,
touch
not
and
that
go.
that's making up for everything that happened to her, but
No, but it's looked like we might get to hear a decision about the residency program next week, which is our finale.
I'm still a little disappointed we haven't seen Arizona.
I don't know if we're going to. I think she might have just really been visiting people on set.
That's a shame.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we don't know. They like to surprise us, so
Maybe
they
she'll
don't
pop
show us
up.
everything in the previews.
Yeah. It seemed like there was a lot of flashbacks. In the preview anyway. I mean, I don't know if that'll actually be like in the show, but in the preview, like it was showing the like in the very beginning.
The very beginning. I was like, well, I don't remember any, but yeah, the flashes at the very beginning. I remember.
Isn't it the 300th or 400th episode or something?
400th.
400.
So
a big party.
So
I loved
maybe
all the
that was
pictures from that.
maybe that was the reason for all the flashbacks, but I hope they put some of that into the episode.
I think it was for the 400th because like they kind of like flashed all of them and then said like 400th, blah 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 blah. I think that's kind of where the flashbacks were meant to be, is just to celebrate the 400th being done. But we get to see April and Jackson back.
And April's in the pit.
April's in the pit. When Bailey
hope-
tells her,
I hope that she's as much of a badass in the pit as what she was when she left, because can I just say, I didn't care for April at first, but when she got that, fire under her butt, and she was like, when she was in the thing with Owen when it was raining out, and she's like, no, I am not letting my patient die, and she drug him into the ambulance, and that's the side of April that I like. And I'm really hoping that, given that it's been a few years since she's been in here, I'm really hoping that she's grown as a doctor and she's more confident, and we see more of that of her.
See, I think by the time she left, she was a freaking baddie. I mean, already. I think she could have only grown.
I do too.
I think I don't think they're going to disappoint us. If they're only going to be in one episode, I think that they'll do it right. Grace breaks our heart a lot and we have a lot to complain about, but whenever they have an idea and they want to execute it, they really do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
They do a good job surprising us, which is, I mean, it's kind of what we want from our shows, right?
Yeah. You don't want it to be
if we knew what was going to happen every week, why would we watch?
Yeah.
We like the surprises.
The one thing that surprised me is how much judgment Jackson's throwing over there to Meredith. I don't like that at all, because he left too, and she didn't say anything to him. They had that conversation and she was completely supportive of him leaving and everything, and now he's coming there and giving her a hard time.
Remember what he's going through right now, and he does not handle emotion well. But his mom's cancer's back and she's fighting for her life right now. I think in Jackson's done this in the past. He doesn't handle his emotions well, and he's going to lash out. And I'm not surprised he lashes out at Meredith. He's comfortable with Meredith. Usually the people you're most comfortable with are the ones that you lash out at, because they're going to take it and deal with it. And I think
Meredith
bothered me.
Meredith can take it. She'll throw it right back at him if she has to.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think the reason that it got me is because she's been going through so much crap with Bailey and Richard, and it's like, you're really going to give it to her too after you just left?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think they're probably making it seem worse in the previews than it's really going to be. They like to do that to us. Really, this season they've been really bad about doing that to us in previews. It's like making all of the most important scenes in the show be a part of the preview, and the rest of the whole episode's kind of like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully this whole fight between Jackson and Meredith don't overcloud the entire episode, because if that's the case, I'm not going to like it.
Yeah, because at the end, when Jackson was getting ready to leave, they were very close. I mean, they didn't really have that much of a relationship like while he was there, but by the time that he was getting ready to leave, they were pretty close by that point.
Well, she said, "You're leaving me alone."
Yeah, he was the last one in her class, or not really, like near
it was her
class.
It was still her class, because they were the same level. They just got transferred midway, but I think they were still in the same class. because they both came at attendings at the same time. I remember they took the boards together.
Yeah, that's right. I get mixed up because they came from the different hospital.
I do too. I always think about the boards though, and I'm like, okay, who took the boards at what time? Because that was Meredith's class. That's why.
Because
It
April
sticks
would
in
have
my
technically
head.
been in that class too.
Yeah, April. I think April and Jackson were the only ones that were left to take the boards from that group that came over from Mercy West, right?
Yeah, because I think everyone else died.
Or left.
The one guy followed Christina, and then Murphy left, I'm pretty sure. And then that mouse girl, she died, and Percy died.
So yeah, that was all of them. All right. Well, I guess we're gonna have to just wait until next week and see. I'm excited. I'm watching live. All right. So next week is the season finale and
The 400th
There's-
episode.
the 400th episode. It's going to be a 2-hour. There's going to be no Station 19. So the last podcast for Grays will be just Grays. It will not be Station 19. This will be the last Station 19 podcast until it comes back for season 6. And same thing for Grays. We will be back after this is the second to last episode we will do. We'll do one more episode for the finale, and then we'll be back September-ish. I think it's usually when they come back. So if you are not already, you can join our Facebook group at Grey's Anatomy, Grey Family Fan Club. And if that's all, then we can all say bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
For our listeners craving more, you can search for all 16 of our groups on Facebook by searching Family Fan Club. Come on over and join the conversation. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok under Fandom Family Chats. We try to always make sure to have something that will entertain. Of course, we'd also love your feedback, the good and any bad. And you can provide that by emailing us at familyfanclub2021@gmail.com. Keep an eye out for our website coming soon, where you'll be able to buy FFC merch and merch about some of your favorite TV shows with some favorite sayings and images. We're also working toward hosting a Comic-Con style event in 2024 where some of your favorite fandoms, cast, crew, and fans alike will come together for a fun-filled weekend. You can find those announcements on our website coming at you soon. Keep watching and listening, and as always, don't forget to share and subscribe.